championship story. And in Charlotte, North Carolina, Damon Bradshaw's hometown, Jean-Michel Bayle finally got himself up to speed, beat Stanton, a Honda sweep. Bradshaw was back in the back and struggling a little bit. And so lo and behold, what looked like a Damon Bradshaw runaway early in the year suddenly became a true battle, a three-man battle for the title.
And when things start going bad, it seems like they're compounded and they get even worse. That's what happened with Damon Bradshaw. On to Indianapolis, and would you look at that?
Indeed, the end-over-end crash looked worse than it was. Bradshaw was not hurt, but lost any chance of scoring points at Indy, and all of a sudden found himself playing catch-up in the battle for the championship. But catch-up he did. He came back to win at Pontiac, Michigan, en route to a record 9 race victories. Had the man been able to keep his cool, perhaps he would be the 1992 Supercross champion. But he's got this thing about Jeff Matiasevich, and when the two of them tangled in Las Vegas, Bradshaw may have, with that move right there, given up the championship. He was a lap down at the finish to guess who? Team Honda, Bayle, and Stanton.
From Las Vegas, the series moved to Dallas, the home of the Cowboys. Damon proved to be up to riding any type of a mount rodeo style, went on to take the win. Then he went to San Jose, where he scored 2 in a row. Bradshaw was back on top of his game.
But the San Jose story was the demise of Jean-Michel Bayle's hopes right there. He hits the Bayle, dislocates his shoulder, and effectively loses any hope of repeating as the series champion. It would be his teammate Jeff Stanton and Damon Bradshaw who would battle for the crown, and indeed who would have a pretty good race for the win right here in San Jose. Look at the pass by Bradshaw as he gets around both Matiasevich and Stanton, and that is indeed the record 9th win of the season.
And that set the stage for the season finale. All Damon Bradshaw needed to do was finish third at the LA Coliseum. For him, it should have happened in a cakewalk, but it didn't.
That's just one example of the kind of day Damon Bradshaw had as he nicked that Bayle, shakes his head. Here's the indication. You got to pass Guy Cooper to win the championship. Keep in mind, Bradshaw was riding with an injured knee from an outdoor race. He did not use that as an excuse. He simply said, I choked. Stanton did what he had to do. He won the race and thus claimed his 3rd Supercross title. Damon Bradshaw very, very frustrated and disappointed in defeat. Comes back this year to try to make right what got away from him a year ago. Stanton will try to defend his title, and it's time to hear from him now. Let's go to one of our 2 pit reporters tonight, Art Ekman.
Thanks, Dave. We're with Damon Bradshaw. Damon, last year you won the unprecedented 9 races, but barely missed the title. It was such an emotional moment. Could you put that out of your mind going into this year?
Well, it was hard. You know, I did it at the end of last year. This is a new year, and I'm looking forward to it. And same strategy and the same attitude and the mental preparation, and, you know, all the bikes and everyone is going to go at it the same way we went at it last year. We've made a couple small changes, but I think it worked for us last year. Just hopefully we'll come out on top.
The fans are anxious to hear about your knee, the rehabilitation. Are you going to be able to go strong from the beginning?
Yeah, I'm going to be 100%. I'm going to go out and ride and as hard and as well as I possibly can. But everything is 100%. The bikes, you know, my knee, me, everything. So we're looking forward to doing good.
Okay, there are 2 riders who have won 3 Supercross championships. One, of course, is Bob Hurricane Hanna, and he's with the other one right now. Bob?
Thanks, Art. At the end of this season, we might very well be talking to the only man ever to win this Supercross Series championship 4 times in a row. Are you ready to kick me out of the record books that early?
I sure am. Anytime I can win a championship, I'll go ahead and do it. Last year was a great year. It was exciting. Went right down to the wire. I sure hope it didn't go that far this year.
That brings the next question. Bradshaw won 9 events last year. Your strong points were consistency every week. Is that what you're looking for this year?
Yeah, I'm going to be consistent. That has won me a lot of championships. It's won me 6 championships. And only winning 3 races last year, I wasn't happy with that. So I want to win more races, more Supercross races, come out strong, finish strong, and win that championship one more time.
Last year's chase went right down to the wire. I think the 93 season is going to do just that, right down to the wire.
Larry, I have no doubt this thing will go down to the wire. I want to know if it's going to be a 2-man battle, Stanton and Bradshaw, or will there be some new faces in it this year?
I think you'll see some new faces that actually were around last year. They're going to be just a little bit faster in 1993.
Mike Kidrowski, Mike LaRocco, the pair of Kawasaki riders, they're going to be in there. A couple of freshmen, if you will. They're newcomers to the ranks of 250s, but they have each won a pair of 125cc championships. Brian Swink, Jeremy McGrath. They're going to make a little bit of noise. Take a look at the veteran Guy Cooper. He may not, be there when the championship run is over, but I guarantee you he'll make some noise in the series. There are a lot of riders. Matasevich, just a lot of old faces, and they're all going to be cropping up now and then.
LaRocco is, of course, the defending champion in this, the Orlando race. We'll be back to get to the season opener action right after this timeout.
He has no mercy. He knows no fear. He feels no pain. Last year, there was only one thing Jeff Stanton couldn't destroy: his CR.
What is a mountain man's natural environment? Let's explore. A mountain man enjoys peaceful surroundings. A place where gentle winds blow. And the beauty of nature is all about. Only here does the mountain man find true happiness. With a smooth bush beer or an easy drinking bush light. So, head for the mountains and find out how the true mountain man can make any environment a more natural one.
The forecast calls for a red-hot spring with red-hot deals on red-hot new Hondas, along with great financing like no money down, free service inspections and appraisals, free Ride Red Honda hats, and, as you can see, lots of free demo rides and a whole lot more. Come see the hot new Hondas, but hurry. Honda's red-hot deal days end April 30th. After that, you'll be left out in the cold.
It is called the Citrus Bowl, the big stadium in Orlando, Florida, jammed with nearly 40,000 fans tonight. Here is the racetrack on which the battle will take place. Diagrammatically, it looks like this. In the upper left-hand corner, there is a sand pit. That's the focus of Bob Hanna's attention.
Every Supercross track on the circuit has its little quirks that gives the riders special problems each week. Here in Orlando is this Daytona Beach sand pit. Last year, it really played havoc with some of these riders. The reason being the rest of the track is the same dirt consistency, but every time they come around here, it's an all-new ball game. Let's talk to some of the experts and see how they tackle this problem.
Well, it depends. Sometimes it's, today it's probably going to be wet, so it shouldn't be bad, but when the sand's real dry, it's tough. You just got to try going through there without making mistakes. It's tough to do sometimes, but some of the sand pits are real easy.
In the sand pit, like if you're next to, like the 2 or 3 guys or something, then you definitely want to be cautious mainly because you don't know what the other guys will be doing.
Sand it's really easy to get out of control, and so you kind of want to watch if somebody's ahead of you. If not, just, work through it, try to get through it as clean and as fast as possible.
It sounds like everybody's got a little bit different idea on how to tackle this situation. In a few moments, we're going to see who really knows what they're talking about.
Indeed, the field are at the gate for the first heat race. Larry, how do they qualify for the main event?
A pair of heat races. Top 4 go directly to the main. Those that do not make it go to the semis. From the semis, we'll take 5 riders. They go to the main. Still haven't made it? Let's go to the last chance qualifier. From there, 2 riders go into the 20-lap main event that completes the field of 20.
We'll take a look at the highlights of the qualifying heat races. In the first heat, guess who? Damon Bradshaw jumps out front, takes the lead. Here comes Mike LaRocco. He's the defending Orlando champion, putting a pass on Larry Brooks to get into 4th place, and then zapping right on past Brian Swink, number 19, to take over 3rd. Swink, last year's champion in the 125 Eastern region. Bradshaw looking so smooth.
Indeed, right behind Bradshaw, number 21, a brand new factory ride for Steve Lamson aboard a Honda. LaRocco's not impressed at all with those credentials. He makes the pass. There he goes around the outside, sets his sights now on Bradshaw. Bradshaw. Don't forget, we're looking at a heat race here. He didn't have to do all this. He was in the main event, but he was making a race out of it.
And indeed, uncharacteristically, Bradshaw surrendering to the pressure here. LaRocco kept the heat on him, and watch what happens to Damon Bradshaw. It appears to be LaRocco who's at the razor edge of control, but LaRocco keeping that heat on and trying to force the mistake. The big question about Bradshaw, of course, is the knee. He's so smooth you don't see any apparent damage, but there's a little bit of a bobble, and he's off the racetrack. LaRocco goes on to a comparatively easy victory.
I'd call that a major bobble, and almost a bobble to go on your head as he gets totally sideways, and what an impressive save it was to stay upright, Dave. But if you recall, he took his feet off the foot pegs, and I have to wonder, was the knee a problem at that point? Was he trying to save his knees from the pounding?
Checkered flag for Mike LaRocco, hoping to make it 2 wins in a row here in Orlando. Great ride for young Steve Lamson, who sat out much of last year with a broken leg. Take a look at the results. LaRocco, Lamson, Bradshaw, and Swink are bound for the championship main event. Let's hear from the winner.
Mike, the qualifier's not all that important, but you kept the pressure on the whole race long. Is that important for you?
Not really, Bob. I'm just going out there getting used to my bike, used to the track. You know, I felt real good tonight, so I said I might as well go for the win.
You won last year. Does that give you an advantage tonight over these other guys?
I won last year because I like the kind of dirt and I like the track layout. So, yeah, it's helped me out a lot. I go into this race looking at it that, you know, I liked it last year. I do it again this year.
Well, good luck in the main, Mike.
Thanks a lot.
All right, we'll move on to the highlights of the second qualifying heat race, the drop of the gate. Got a surprise for you in this one. There was also a surprise for Jeff Matasevich awaiting in the first turn. Jeff new to Team Suzuki, high sides, and finds himself the subject of a traffic jam. Not a great way to start with a new team. He's a little frustrated, but quickly gets back into the fray. Here's the surprise. Number 15 is Jeremy McGrath. He's leading the reigning Supercross champion, his teammate, Jeff Stanton. Inevitably, the champ is going to come up and whip on this first-year 250 rider, right?
Well, that's what it says in the book. After all, rookies are supposed to give way, particularly when you're dealing with the #1 plate. And we all know that McGrath will move right over here and let Stanton by. At least that's what it says in the script.
Yeah, fat chance. McGrath goes on to win the fastest heat of the night. Mike Kudrowski comes home third behind Jeff Stanton. He's teammate to LaRocco and hoping to make it a Mike sweep here tonight. The big news, though, is this kid. Last year's Western Region 125 champ, Jeremy McGrath, gets off to a great start as he beats Stanton, Kudrowski, and Kalos.
Jeremy, you were mainly a 125 rider last year, but you did ride selected 250 events. Do you think that had something to do with tonight's performance?
Well, I think it gave me a little bit more experience. You know, that was about the only thing that I could say that would have helped me. You know, we've been doing a lot of testing, and things have been working out really good. You know, our bikes are great, and you know, I've just become adapted to it pretty good. And you know, I was just telling myself that I was getting a little bit nervous out there. My arms pumped up a little bit. But, you know, I think that'll go away with time. You know, I just got to keep getting a good start and just go out there and race my race.
Jeff Stanton was right behind you. Do you think you'll be that easy to beat in the main?
Well, you know, there was a lot more laps in the main. I know Jeff's real strong, but, you know, I think I'm ready too. You know, Jeff's a very tough competitor, and that's obviously why he's got #1. But, you know, I just hope to be right there with him.
All right, good luck in the main, Jeremy.
Thanks, Bob.
How about that new goatee for Jeremy McGrath? Back in the Yamaha pits, Brian Lunas preparing the #8 machine of Damon Bradshaw for the main event. Bradshaw with the bobble in the heat race surrendered the victory. I think the question about Bradshaw tonight is his condition, particularly as regards the knee. Art Ekman is in the pits to file a report.
Well, Damon, you certainly proved that that knee is sound the way you took off, but what happened in the whoops?
I just made a mistake and got a little cross-rutted and went in there and banged myself up a little bit, but everything's okay. We're going to make a couple adjustments, and I think things should be right.
I guess that's the important fact. You're okay physically, and the bike will be all right.
Yeah, I feel good. We just got to get the bike spot on.
It is a somber Damon Bradshaw who meets with Art Ekman, but Brian Lewis is keeping it all in perspective. Big smile on his face. Yeah, we got him covered for the main event. Meanwhile, down the road at Team Honda, they're taking a look at the videotape from the heats. Ekman is there.
Dave, here in the Honda pits, no major adjustments on the 250. The #1 bike of Jeff Stanton, they plan to lower the oil level of the shocks to get the bike to settle better into the ruts in the turns. The riders are happy with the condition of the track. They say despite the rutty conditions in the turns, it's much better than during practice, and they're happy with it. Turning to Jeremy McGrath. McGrath feels that he has to relax more in the main event. He says, I still have too many butterflies to be effective with so much on the line, despite the fact that he won his first heat ever in 250 competition. From the Honda pits, Art Ekman, back to you, Dave.
Well, McGrath should be this nervous all the time. Great ride for him in the heat race. Fans gathered for the semifinals. We'll be right back.
What more can you get for a quarter?
Sam Beckett is a brilliant scientist who invents an amazing time machine, and now he gets to hurtle through time and space, experiencing life through other people's bodies, sometimes for just a few hours, and then poof, he leaps into a new person in a different year. He's got this hologram friend named Al, but that's another story. Ultimately, Sam would really like to leap home, but then the show would end, and many people would be sad. Now you can truly go where no man has gone before, in Quantum Leap on USA.
Hour of sports in April on ESPN.
Bouncing tip, score!
All in April on ESPN.
The forecast calls for a red-hot spring with red-hot deals on red-hot new Hondas, along with great financing like no money down, free service inspections and appraisals, free Ride Red Honda hats, and, as you can see, lots of free demo rides and a whole lot more. Come see the hot new Hondas, but hurry. Honda's red-hot deal days end April 30th. After that, you'll be left out in the cold.
We're back in Orlando, where the first of two semifinal races is at the starting gate. The opportunity to make it to the main event for those who didn't transfer from the heat to Jeff Emig. Jumps out front of Larry Ward early on in this little 6-lap sprint race. Meanwhile, the man on the move from fourth is Vince Devane, number 106, a local boy here.
Now, Vince Devane coming out of retirement, whether or not he rides the circuit this year remains to be seen, but certainly putting in an appearance here to excite the fans here in Florida. He is a Florida rider, as you pointed out. It's easier, Dave, to make it into the main event from the semis. The good riders obviously transferring from the heat race. On occasion, though, we end up with a great battle like the one we were watching here between Larry Ward and Jeff Emig. And watch Ward here. He's taking this one really serious. He went from side to side off the motorcycle, got back out. Let's take another look. He just loses it going up the hill, or the jump rather, and as he does that, the bike gets sideways on him. I don't know how he stayed on top of it, to be very honest. Yeah, he really did.
And did not lose position and comes back to challenge Emig again. That's the key. When you make the bobble, you got to just forget about it and recover. He ran out of time. Emig wins it with Ward surviving for the second spot, and Devane with a good ride to third spot. Bill Wallen was fourth. Koji Okawara of Japan is fifth. Let's hear from the winner, Jeff Emig.
Jeff Emig, a year ago tonight, you led this main event almost a halfway point. You looked a little more comfortable on the bike that night. Are you having any problems tonight?
Yeah, you know, not making, you know, like any excuses. I've been a little bit sick this week, though, and I just don't, you know, I just don't have any punch in me, you know.
I think that'll affect you in the main event. Being 20 laps is going to be kind of hard, huh?
Yeah, well, that was only 6 laps, and my stomach felt pretty weak, you know. But I'm gonna do what I can, you know, for Yamaha, you know, and for myself, you know, trying to get YZ250, you know, in the #1 spot.
Well, get a little rest over there, and good luck in the main.
Well, thanks, Bob.
Well, I don't think Jeff's having a good time tonight. And speaking of not having a good time, in the second semi, number 7 Guy Cooper and number 12 Jeff Matasevich, teammates now for Suzuki, got terrible starts. So here they are trying to work their way through traffic and at the same time trying to race each other handlebar to handlebar. That's like a bomb just waiting to go off right there.
Matasevich has taken Cooper out 2 or 3 times in his career. Seems like it happened in consecutive weekends just about a year ago. And I think Cooper learned a lesson. Watch this move that he puts on Carl Vaillancourt.
Gravity got the best of Vaillancourt there. Cooper and Matasevich go on without him, and he's thinking, those guys ride Suzukis too. Why'd he knock me off?
Cooper was all over the racetrack as he worked his way through traffic from that bad start. He's eventually going to work his way all the way up to the number 2 position. A phenomenal ride by, I guess we call him the elder statesman now that Jeff Ward is gone.
Pushing 31 years old. It's remarkable to watch Cooper in action. He cases it off the jump. Still pulls off the pass. The fans love him. They call him airtime Cooper.
Now watch Michael Craig. He tries to imitate Cooper. Watch his landing. Wow, that's a good way, isn't it, to get yourself out of the main event.
When you're leading the race, you don't want to crash, believe me. Cooper's chasing him from second, but he's going to run out of time. Always spectacular to watch. See there, Coop doing a little airtime number, waving to the folks. He's proud of himself for that run to second place. I mean, he just left Matasevich behind, but it is Craig, the newest member of Team Kawasaki, who won this one in a walk and got to show off a little bit at the finish line. Michael Craig establishing himself as a force as Cooper gets in one last clicker. Check the men going to the main. McElroy, Johnson, and Palmer are bound for the big show as we hear from the winner, Michael Craig.
That's kind of a hard way to get to the main event, Michael. How'd you feel out there?
You know, I feel really good. It's my first race as a factory rider, and you know, the first practice I was way too nervous. I've been practicing a lot, training a lot in Europe, and I know I got the speed, but if I can stay relaxed and go the whole 20 laps without brain fading at all, so if I can do that, I think I can run top 5 for sure.
That riding for the factories, that put a lot more pressure on you than when you're riding for yourself?
Well, yeah, because, you know, they give me these better parts, so that means I got to go up there and prove that I can go faster than what I did last year. And last year I felt pretty good, but this year, you know, I feel really good. The bikes are great, so I'm happy.
Well, it looks like you're doing your job.
Thank you very much.
Good luck in the main.
Thanks, Bob.
Always nice to see the new guys do well. Always nice to see Cooper performing at his optimum. And I think we should dispatch Art Ekman to the pits to find out more about this spectacular ride as Cooper came from deep in the pack to finish as the runner-up. Art?
Dave, here in the Suzuki pit, a very happy Mr. Cooper right now because you had to come from a long way back.
Yeah, it was. I've had a hard time getting out of the gate. Both the heat race and semi have been way back there. And I've got the pull once I'm down the straightaway, but everyone's got their elbows in front of me. There's no way I can squeeze through. And it seems like it funnels in real quick. It's a real long straight, but it funnels in just 30 or 40 feet off the gate. Everyone pulls in. And so if you're not up there, you're squeezed out.
And everybody's got their adrenaline flowing in the first few races of the year because they get that good start.
Right. I think the first heat race, I said I was probably a little gun shy. It's been 4 months since I've been in a U.S. race, and so maybe a little gun shy. But that one I was all out trying to go for it and still got squeezed out. So I think for the main event, I'm going to go to the far right, and when everybody squeezes in, if I'm not at elbow in front of everybody, then I can still maybe swing to the outside. And so that's my strategy anyway.
Cooper, of course, is coming back off a broken leg. Jeff Emig has stomach trouble. The walking wounded are ready for the main event.
The forecast calls for a red-hot spring with red-hot deals on red-hot new Hondas, along with great financing like no money down, free service inspections and appraisals, free Ride Red Honda hats, and, as you can see, lots of free demo rides and a whole lot more. Come see the hot new Hondas, but hurry. Honda's Red Hot Deal Days end April 30th. After that, you'll be left out in the cold.
Court is now in session. What's the charge?
That Foot Locker's got the ultimate outdoor basketball collection.
What's their evidence?
The Nike Air Raid, the Reebok Boulevard Blacktop, the Fila Cage, and the Converse Tarmac.
Does the defense rest?
Never.
The verdict?
We find Foot Locker guilty as charged of having the ultimate outdoor basketball collection.
We got next.
Whoa!
We're back at the Citrus Bowl in Orlando, and the action is the last chance qualifier. Quick highlights here is number 12, Jeff Matasevich, is definitely earning his money here tonight. He's got one last chance to get to the main event.
And, of course, the last chance qualifier. Top 2 riders make it into the main. Unique thing here is Matasevich all night long has been battling other Suzuki riders. There they look at each other as they go over that big jump. They're great buddies off the track, and perhaps they were discussing what they're going to do after the race.
Denny Stevenson and handlebar to handlebar with Matasevich. They're both going to go to the main event, so the important thing here is to not knock each other off. Once Matasevich was clear of Stevenson, he pulled away to a comparatively easy win and gets himself a starting spot in the feature with a lot of style past the checkered flag. Stevenson realized he couldn't maintain Matasevich's pace and elected to take the easy spot. Let's go to Art Ekman with the winner, Jeff Matasevich.
Dave, down here in the Suzuki pits, and we're talking with Jeff Matasevich. And Jeff, 20 laps before going to the main. It's a tough way to get there. How do you sum up things now as you look forward to the next try?
Well, I figured some things out all during the week. We've been back here testing, but we've been testing in a sandy condition, so it's really tacky out there. And I just learned some more about the bike in those 3 races. I don't feel tired at all. Actually, sometimes it's better for me to run a qualifier than another one, because you go into the main, you're still sweating a little bit, warmed up, and you know, it was real short races. The 20 laps is long, but it's sort of like a warm-up before the 20 laps, so I don't think conditioning is going to be a big problem.
Last chance winner, Jeff Matasevich. This is the 125 main event at the gate. Before we get to that, Bob Hanna on how these guys protect themselves from the rigors of Supercross.
I'm standing here looking at a picture that was taken 15 years ago at Daytona Supercross. I had an open face helmet on, goggles that leaked as much sand as they did airflow, a thin cotton jersey, some prototype nylon pants, and some black leather boots that were quite weak. 15 years later, we've got some pretty good equipment. Goggles that came from the ski industry, foam ventilation all the way around, keeps the sand completely out of the rider's eyes. Tear-off system that gives them good vision throughout the race. The helmets that we're wearing now still give the airflow that the old ones did, but with full coverage protection. The nylon pants that I had on came a long ways, and now we've got protection of knee cups and shin guards in there to take the impact if a rider crashes. The shoulder pads that we cover up that cotton jersey with now are shoulder pads designed from the football industry that we wear over the outside so we don't lose any mobility. The boots have come a long ways. They've still got the plastic protection, and they've got steel in the bottom. So not only the motorcycles have come a long ways in the last 15 years, so has the gear. And for myself, all I've gotten is a few more wrinkles.
Bob, the ravages of time. The youngsters of the 125 class are ready for action. We'll be back with the highlights of their main event.
The forecast calls for a red-hot spring with red-hot deals on red-hot new Hondas, along with great financing like no money down, free service inspections and appraisals, free Ride Red Honda hats, and, as you can see, lots of free demo rides and a whole lot more. Come see the hot new Hondas, but hurry. Honda's Red Hot Deal Days end April 30th. After that, you'll be left out in the cold.
Do you want it?
Do you really want it?
If you want it, get IcoPro Thermic Force at General Nutrition Centers. The 6-week program designed to help build the body you want. It's more than just pills and powders. IcoPro is the complete integrated conditioning program to help maximize your body's potential.
You've got to want it.
Really want it.
IcoPro Thermic Force, you've got to want it. Available at General Nutrition Centers, the authority in sports nutrition products.
We're ready for 125 main event action. Last year, this class was dominated by 2 men who are both gone now. Here's Art Ekman.
With Jeremy McGrath and Brian Swink graduating to the 250 ranks, there is still a host of young talent eager and ready to show that they have what it takes to follow their footsteps. The 125 class is wide open.
Those scrambling for top honors in the East will no doubt be those who filled in the ranks behind Swink last year. Finishing second was 2-time winner Jimmy Button.
I'm really pumped about the season. I feel that I'm riding
as good or better than anybody out there, and I think I had the experience to go out there and show them what I can do.
The front runners, I believe, will be Ezra Lusk and Doug Henry, who switched to the Honda team after a third-place finish in '92.
They were really strong. You know, they were fast, but they were more so consistent, and that's what I think it's going to take. You know, is to be consistent. You know, this year, and I hope to just be in there every race.
There was a couple races where I got to ride with Brian and Jeremy, and I felt I was as fast as they were. So with them out of the class now, I think with me and my mechanic working together and me trying to be consistent and smooth, I think we can bring this championship home for Suzuki.
A big long shot, young Tim Ferry.
I won Rookie of the Year last year, and I feel really confident going into the event, and I have just as chance as winning as anybody else, and I want to be a #1 at the end of the year.
The West Coast contenders for McGrath's title don't get their season underway until next week at Houston, but we'll get a good indication as to the favorites in the East tonight. Back to you, David Leary.
And straight to the action as we check out the highlights of this 125 main event. Field coming to the gate inside 30 seconds away from the start. Start is always critical in Supercross, and it's tough to get one of these 125s off the gate.
RPMs are the key. They rev the motorcycles. When it goes sideways, you'll notice the hands start turning on the throttle in anticipation of the gate dropping.
125 main event gets underway with a good charge to turn #1 and a big tumble in the back of the pack. The early lead belongs to number 43. It's Ezra Lusk, who has a hole shot over the DGY Yamaha teammates Chad Pedersen and Jeff DeMent. Lusk, who really was strong in this class a year ago and learned a lot, as he said, from Brian Swink, the class champ, gets the hole shot, and that's bad news for the rest of these guys. He's got to be considered the pre-race favorite.
I'm not sure in the 125 class that you can have a pre-race favorite. Evenly matched motorcycles, and the talents of the riders all pretty much equal, Dave. Now we're looking at second and third, the DGY Yamaha teammates. Right behind them, rider number 16, just putting in an appearance aboard the factory Honda. That's Doug Henry. He's caught up with the front runners. He makes a move on Jimmy Button, who won a pair of 125 races last year, but Henry with a good line on the inside makes short work of him, and now he attacks the two DGY Yamaha riders.
Henry's really charged and didn't get a great start. It's noteworthy, too, that virtually everybody at the head of the class here in the 125 division has changed motorcycles this year. A lot of competition for the starting spots on the teams. There's the move by Henry, picks up another position and sets his sights on the leader. Meanwhile, Button gets into a pretty good scuffle right here with Jeff DeMent. DeMent on the Yamaha, and Button now riding for Suzuki, and that becomes the battle for fourth. And there's the inside move, and give the spot to Button.
Now Button sets his sights on rider number 28, Chad Pedersen, and I don't know, maybe he got just a little bit overly exuberant, but Button is going to have a problem here coming up.
Yeah, right there. I'll say he had a problem. Cased the jump and then went right over the handlebars. Not a great way to start your season.
Boy, did he ever. When you case it, you come down with one wheel on one side, one wheel on the other side. There's nothing there to take the impact except the engine cases, and boy, that makes for a hard landing.
Up front, Jim Danforth gives the leader the signal. Ezra Lusk is 6 seconds ahead. And there's the confirmation from Doug Henry's mechanic. Indeed, 6 seconds is the gap to the leader, Ezra Lusk. And now I want you to watch Tim Ferry, last year's Rookie of the Year. He does the huge triple right into the hay bale and right on his head. He's okay. I'll tell you what, that's remarkable.
Yeah, it is. We're going to see this from another angle. Now watch, he makes the jump okay, but watch where he lands. Bam! And he explodes that hay bale, and boy, there's just too much of a cushion when the rear wheel comes down to that big pile of hay.
He had the distance, but he was wide to the right as he came down off the racetrack, and his night is over. Now, 43 is Lusk. Look at the traffic jam behind him. The lapped riders become a factor here as Doug Henry, number 16, tries to get through this mess. Lusk gets around. Blue flag is out telling these guys to move over. They're not thinking move over. They're thinking race each other for position. And Henry, with the laps winding down, there's the blue flag, but Henry's got no place to go.
Actually, the blue flag, I believe, if you read the rule book, does not say move over. It says do not race with a guy that is trying to pass you. That's what it's all about. And they didn't. They were racing with each other.
The net result for Henry was the same. They're 3 wide in front of him. He says, hey, I can't get to Lusk from here. I'm just going to settle back, take it easy. The mechanic Steinbrenner said, don't do that. Go get him back.
Pete Steinbecker, he's just out there waving his arms saying, get out of the way, get out of the way. My guy's coming through.
This guy's going nowhere. And Henry knows it. I mean, he knows he can't get around all 3 of these guys without getting himself in serious trouble. He'll take it if it's there, but he's not going to push the issue. And that's smart. I mean, he's caught out here. It's bad luck. It'd been great if he could have caught Lusk, but it just wasn't destined to happen.
I suspect the AMA officials will have a thing or two to say to those 3 riders. Meanwhile, Lusk takes advantage, and he just pulls away from the field.
He can look over his shoulder on the straightaway. He knows what's happening. Lusk takes the comparatively easy victory as Henry comes home with a runner-up finish. Give him credit. Smart ride. He could have done something crazy. Tried to get through there and lost it all. And so the Georgia teenager, Ezra Lusk, who was so close a couple of times last year, scores his first win, says thanks to the motorcycle, pitches the costume in the crowd, and look at Jim Danforth. Is he happy?
He gets congratulations from the mechanic of Doug Henry, goes over and gives a great big hug, and is picked up by Ezra's father. A first ever main event win, and Ezra was feeling it. The crowd was on his side all the way.
Standing ovation for Ezra Lusk for his first Supercross victory, and more souvenirs for the fans. I'll tell you, this is a thrill in front of this kind of crowd. Take a look at the results. Lusk, Henry, Chad Pedersen third, Dement and Yezik round out the top 5. We'll go on down through 10. Jimmy Button after the crash got 6. Sheik, Brown, Dangler, and Jackson round out the top 10. Let's hear from the winner.
You had a good ride here last year in 92. Do you think that had anything to do with this great ride tonight?
Yeah, last year I was in a little bit worse shape than I am this year. This year I'm in real good shape. I've been able to jog because I got a hurt leg last year, but now I'm feeling real tough, and I'd rather got back in second, third, and had to work my way up, but, you know, getting the whole shot and going is the best way, I guess.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. I'll take it any way it comes.
That's a great ride.
Thanks a lot.
Lusk got the whole shot. Number 16, Doug Henry, got stuck in a traffic jam. Here's Art Ashman.
It appeared that you were picking up some good time on the leader. Then you hit the whoops and the hay bale. Slowed you down a little bit, but that traffic, they wouldn't clear for you.
No, the track kind of got one line. You know, it was really wet today, so it really got one line out there. So it's you know, they should have moved over, but when there's 3 guys racing all like that, it's hard, you know.
Well, it probably ran through your mind, too. You get your nose up there and fall down, you lose second place points, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. You know, this is the first race. I just wanted to go out there and, you know, just try to ride consistent and see how I felt for the year, you know. Now I know where I'm at, and now I know what I got to do.
Kid rode smart, and he's gracious in defeat. There's your top 3 celebrating as the 125 main event is history, and the 250s coming up.
Off the road, on the road. The Suzuki Dual Sport 350S. It's a vicious cycle.
You shrink from human contact. You avoid each other like the plague. You are not you yet. Morning breath. It's as if the sticky, pasty film in your mouth is affecting your mind. But there's hope. There's Scope. Scope's antibacterial action kills millions of morning breath bacteria. So no wonder Scope helps get your whole mouth clean. Suddenly your breath's minty fresh, and so's your outlook. Morning breath's a problem, but you can kiss it goodbye with Scope.
How far will your money go when buying a Dual Sport 350S? Introducing Suzuki Get On It Flexible Financing. Want to see it again? Other programs include 0 down, low monthly payments, and first-time buyer. Get on it.
We're back in Orlando. It is main event time. We know Stanton and Bradshaw will be tough. Art Ekman says there are other contenders tonight.
After last year's Battle of the Wire, there's no question that the favorites going into the season are Stanton and Bradshaw. However, there are several riders who have the experience and the skill to throw a monkey wrench into their spokes.
I've won, 125 national championship, 500 national championship, and my goal for this year is to go ahead and win the 250 Supercross and then 250 National. Then I'll have, all the championships you can get.
This is my 10th year on the national circuit, and I haven't got a first. I've got lots of seconds and thirds. And I just go out, put in my best, 100%, and hopefully it'll be in the top 3, and maybe, just maybe, it'll be a first place.
Took the whole off season off, just trying to get things back together. So, you know, here I am ready again in Orlando, so I can do the same thing I did last year.
That, of course, would mean victory for the defending Orlando champion. The young 125 graduates Brian Swink and Jeremy McGrath could likely get some upsets this year, but they begin the season with more realistic goals.
My goals for this year are, you know, to finish top 5 in the Supercross series. You know, I think I'm able to, you know, finish top 3 if things go my way.
I think we can win. It might take us a couple weeks to get going, get comfortable. You know, these guys have been doing the 250 class a long time, so they're all comfortable. It might take us a couple races to get comfortable, but I think after that, then we can be right up there making a race out of it.
All the riders here on the pits today agree that there'll be several individual winners this year. One rider told me as many as 10. But the title, well, it always comes down to the man and his team who is competitive week after week. Back to Dave and Larry.
And on the gate, Damon Bradshaw, the man who thought he should win it last year and didn't, lines up alongside Mike Kudrowski as we get set for the kickoff, the first 20-lap main event of the brand new season. Lots of tension, Larry. You really want to get your season started off right.
There always is tension at the first race of the year, but as soon as the gate drops, it's all going to go away, and then you concentrate on one thing, getting to the first corner first. After that, it's a total concentration on the racetrack, on the motorcycle. What are you doing out there? You can't give up an inch of this track and let your mind wander, Dave. If you do, you end up on the ground. That's why Supercross is so tough.
First turn is critical. Watch for the drop of the gate. The season is underway. Charge to turn 1. Who's got the whole shot? Bradshaw has the inside line. Contact on the ground is Michael Craig stacked up behind him. Number 6, Jeff Emig. Number 20, Cliff Palmer is involved. Big first turn pile up, and into the lead goes Damon Bradshaw with pressure right off the bat from the number 15 Honda, Jeremy McGrath. Here is the 4th, 5th, 6th place war. Jeff Stanton did not get a great start.
Stanton bobbling in that corner, and that shoved him back another 3 positions. He has his work cut out for him. 1 year ago, same track, same ruts, same sand, and Stanton coming from off the pace to catch the leaders. But this time, the leader is Damon Bradshaw. Can he do that? That's the big question.
Got a good battle going there with Guy Cooper, number 7, as he and Stanton get at it early. Larry Ward is there to make that a trio. The running order as they finish lap 1. Damon Bradshaw is the leader. McGrath is 2nd. Up to 3rd. Larocco 4th. Mike Kudrowski. 5th is Brian Swink. And Swink makes a mistake right in front of the 6th place man, Jeff Stanton. Could be a change of position here.
Stanton's got his eye on that number 5 position. Whether or not he is able to grab it, we'll have to see. Swink come off that finish line jump, and I think he must have just gotten caught up in a rut. Stanton is going absolutely nowhere. I'm amazed at his lack of aggressiveness. Now, Cooper is right on Stanton's rear wheel, and I really don't understand what the defending champ is doing out there on the racetrack.
6th and 7th spot under contention right now with Swink in front of him, and now there's the bobble by Larocco. That's dropped him back to 4th spot. He was up to 3rd. He has fallen back into the clutches of number 19 Swink, number 1 Stanton, 7 is Cooper, and 9 is Larry Ward. So that's a real dogfight, and you're right. Jeff Stanton doesn't want to be back there racing for 6th and 7th. He wants to be out front chasing Damon Bradshaw.
Interesting to point out that bobble by Larocco occurred in the sand that Hannah talked about earlier in the program. So it's coming into effect. And now here's Steve Lamson. He's trailing some banners. We got all kinds of problems in the opening lap of this Orlando race.
Terrific action. That's what Supercross is all about, and this is it at its best as Guy Airtime Cooper, number 7, continues to impress, but in fact is losing a little ground to number 1 Stanton. Perhaps the reigning champion of Supercross is finally starting to get things gathered up here. This is Larry Ward, the long-legged kid from the Pacific Northwest who now makes his racing home in South Carolina. He's trying to do something with his teammate Cooper. Swink holding on against his fellow Michigander Jeff Stanton. Stanton's just not putting the combinations together. We'll be back with more from Orlando right after this.
Let's take a call from Frederick. You're on the air.
Yeah, I go to a lot of high school basketball games. In fact, I was at the Middletown Walkersville game last night.
Good game.
It was a good game.
Press Box, Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock.
For 6 days at the Hub Furniture Centers, you get extra savings on everything, as my assistant will now demonstrate.
Your assistant?
Please. This 6-piece dining room originally was $26.34. In-store sale price, $21.99. But now you save an extra $200. Take an extra $100 off this sofa, an extra $300 off this bedroom, an extra $281 off this 5-piece living room, with no payments or finance charges till July at the Hub. And don't forget, I quit. You quit. Kath. Hey,
We're back in Orlando. Damon Bradshaw looking for his 16th career Supercross victory. Has the lead. Mike Kudrowski bobbles a bit in third under pressure from his teammate Mike LaRocco, who won this race a year ago.
Oh, and Jeremy McGrath with the problem. He shoots off to the side of the track. He loses that number 2 position. Kudrowski takes that over. Here comes LaRocco by McGrath, and that'll move McGrath from second all the way back to 4th, Dave.
From another angle, you see McGrath run wide. He sees he's going to clip that bail, slows up, still just taps it, and gets the bail cover hooked on his foot peg, drops back to 4th spot as Mike LaRocco goes by to make the pass. Up front, a 6-second Damon Bradshaw lead has begun to dwindle. The question is the knee, Larry. He hurt it mid-season last year. He sat out the entire second half of the season. This is only his 2nd race back. He ran a warm-up race a week ago.
Yeah, I don't think the knee is a problem. You can see him. He's jamming both knees down to the ground. I think the knee is okay. What I think is hurt is his conditioning, Dave. He's not been on the motorcycle. His timing has to be off, and he's paying the price out there right now. And this is where really Stanton should be jumping all over Bradshaw. If he wants a chase at the championship, Bradshaw's going to fade in the early races. If this is going to continue, the conditioning being a factor, Stanton ought to be up there to take advantage of the situation and gain maximum points.
Instead, it is Mike Kudrowski who is there to challenge Damon Bradshaw. The Kawasaki kid, who's never won a Supercross race, has a golden opportunity. He's got Bradshaw in his sights. He looks inside, takes the low line. Bradshaw comes back, but not hard enough, and Kudrowski is the race leader in Orlando, Florida. A couple of bike lengths advantage, and there's the panic in the eyes of the mechanic, Brian Lunnis. Meanwhile, the Kawasaki team thrilled with the prospects here as they have moved to 1st and 3rd. They've got Bradshaw in a sandwich.
Let me tell you, Bradshaw moved over to get out of the way. He's doing it again right now. He's moving over. He's going to let LaRocco by 2. I'm saying that Bradshaw is riding in an extremely intelligent race here, Dave. He's going to stay out of trouble. He knows he's tired. He does not want to get into an out-and-out war with these 2 guys. He'll collect 3rd-place points out here tonight.
He also knows that Jeff Stanton is the man he's got to beat over the long run for the championship, and he's got Stanton behind him tonight. So Bradshaw, in a very uncharacteristic ride, appears to be willing to settle for 3rd.
That is a shocker. Last year, Bradshaw never would have done that. Tired, untired, doesn't matter. He wants to go for it, but he's let Kudrowski now take over that number 1 spot, and he says, go ahead, Mike, you can have the win. It's your turn. I'm going to be here for the long haul. I'll collect my points tonight.
Can Kudrowski stand the pressure of running out front, or will success kill motocross Mike? He's been close before.
Here comes LaRocco.
Here comes his teammate. I'll tell you what, this is heart stop time for the team manager, because you got your 2 kids out there ready to race one another for the victory in the season opener, and we've seen it happen before. You tangle the handlebars and the team hopes go right out the window. And Kudrowski's off the motorcycle. He saves it. Underneath goes LaRocco, and just that quick they swap the top spot.
Dave, I was just about to say, we'll take a look at it again. This is all Mike Kudrowski's problem. He had no help. He got loose in the whoops, almost went over the bar. LaRocco takes advantage. I was just about to say that Kudrowski would have to bobble big time because they're teammates. LaRocco wasn't going to stick the wheel in there and knock him off, so Kudrowski just flat threw it away all by himself. And looking, here comes Bradshaw right back.
We'll be back to wrap it up right after this.
the Suzuki Intruder.
General Nutrition Centers can help you open the door to reach a new you. With Twin Lab Gainers Fuel 2500. Get 2,500 low-fat, high-powered calories per serving. Fire up your workouts with Gainers Fuel 2500 at GNC.
Communication is not crucial to our business. It is our business.
I have a pet peeve about people who don't return phone calls. So if you don't hear from me, you can rest assured I'm probably dead.
Century 21, rated best at selling homes. How far will your money go in buying an Intruder 800? Introducing Suzuki Get On It Flexible Financing. Want to see it again? Other programs include zero down, low monthly payments, and first-time buyer. Get on it.
We're back at Orlando. What an unbelievable outcome. Mike LaRocco leads on bike number 5 with Mike Kudrowski, number 3, in pursuit. Kudrowski did his best to crash both of them out of the race as he lost it right in front of LaRocco. He saved the motorcycle. LaRocco got around to make the pass and take the lead, and it looks like he's going to cruise home with his second straight Orlando victory. Who'd have thunk?
I don't know. They're on the last lap right now, and all Mike LaRocco has to do is to keep from making the same type of mistake that Kudrowski made. That was just an unbelievable set of circumstances. Maybe, just maybe Kudrowski does not want to win.
Yeah, right. LaRocco working his way through the sand pit for the final time. He's putting lap riders behind him. Kudrowski has given up the chase. And so for Mike LaRocco, who kicked off the season here a year ago with a victory and then struggled with injuries the rest of the campaign, 1993 is indeed that clean sheet of paper we talked about at the top of the show. He gets roosted pretty good there as he heads for home. Mike LaRocco making the final turn, headed for the 3rd win of his career, his 2nd in a row in Orlando, Florida. Big night for the Mikes as Mike Kudrowski, his teammate, comes home with a runner-up finish. After all the Honda Yamaha talk, it's a great night for the green team.
It certainly was. We go back 1 year ago. They did the same thing. Jeff Ward took 2nd place behind Mike LaRocco, then retired this year. But, boy, they've got to be happy this year. Side by side, they tour the track. But you got to wonder under that helmet of Mike Kudrowski, is he smiling or is he a little bit mad at himself?
We'll be back to meet the winners right after this.
The Suzuki GSXRs. First, they win more road races than any production motorcycle in history. Then, we put a license plate on them. The new liquid-cooled GSXRs, now available in 600, 750, and 1100 octane.
Where in the world can you find a castle, tigers, the black hole, glamour, romance, neon, a volcano, more neon, feathers, a cabaret, a tropical island, more romance, and superstar after superstar after superstar, only in Las Vegas.
Always on the money, Las Vegas.
Hey, Carl Rose, what do you think of the Worth Power Cell bats?
Let me show you. Enough said.
Worth bats deliver. Hey, Carl, why are Worth softballs used in more national tournaments?
No legal ball flies farther. And even I can't flatten it.
Worth softballs cost more, but they're worth it.
Round 1 of the 93 AMA Camel Supercross Championship Series is history. Mike LaRocco has won it. Team manager Roy Turner there to pass on the accolades. Great way to start the campaign.
Unbelievable way to start the campaign. Damon Bradshaw, though, gets my vote for the most impressive rider out there tonight. He knew when to back off, stay out of it. He didn't give them the win. They earned it, but Bradshaw held his position for the series standings.
Let's go to Art Ekman with the runner-up.
With our 2nd place finisher, Mike Kudrowski. And Mike, it was a good, consistent race for you. Had a little problem in the whoops once in a while.
Yeah, I got in the lead, and I was real smooth, being real consistent. And then, I knew LaRocco was behind me, and kind of got a little tense, he's a good rider, and he rides hard. And he was behind me, sticking his wheel in a little bit, and basically it was just me. I got 2/10 to the whoops. He wasn't near me, nothing, and my arms pumped up, and I kind of just lost it a little bit and bobbled, and he got by. So
in retrospect, though, comparing it to last year, you're off and running well.
Yeah, you know, my bikes, I tested all season with them, and, you know, I can't blame nothing on my Kawasaki. Things running super, and, you know, this is the way we planned it tonight. Either me or Mike LaRocco would win, and he got it, and I got second, so can't ask for nothing better for Kawasaki.
Well, that 500 championship, does that add to your cool in situations like this?
Yeah, I think it's added a little bit. You know, I felt really good out there, and, you know, we'll just look forward to next weekend at Houston.
Take a look at the top 10. LaRocco wins it. Kodrowski, his teammate, second. Bradshaw settles for third. McGrath fourth. Jeff Stanton, not terribly impressive, in fifth. Guy Cooper, Larry Ward, Steve Lamson, Cliff Palmer, and Jeff Emick round out the top 10. Let's hear from the winner.
2 years in a row, you said you liked this dirt. You really proved that tonight.
Yeah, things worked out real good once again for me. You know, I came in the first race of the year ready to go, and if I can just carry it this year, I think our things are working good, so hopefully I can.
That race, you dropped back to fifth, but made a mistake, and then you hard charged back to front. What happened?
Yeah, I fell right out of the sand pit, and, you know, like I never give up, so, you know, the bike's working really good, like I said, and I just came back as good as I could.
Did you think you had lost it?
I didn't want to think that because that would totally blow my drive. I said I can catch these guys. I did it once, so and it worked out again for me tonight.
Good job.
Thanks a lot.
All right, Larry, 40,000 fans on hand, and they see some surprises here tonight.
Big surprise. Number one in my book was Jeff Stanton. His lack of aggressiveness. He just did not perform the way a national champion should perform if he wants to win another Crown Day.
Might Mike LaRocco be a challenger to the Stanton-Bradshaw dominance of Supercross? We'll find out as the series moves on to the Houston Astrodome next week, right here on ESPN. I'm Dave Despain for Larry Myers, Bob Hanna, and Art Ekman. We'll see you next week.